Welcome to Spirituality on the Spectrum, a sacred haven where AuDHD memory keepers and spiritually tuned seekers can finally exhale. If you've ever been mislabeled, overwhelmed, or cosmically attuned beyond explanation, you're not broken. You're calibrated, divinely, precisely, and for this moment. Here, we bridge what science quantifies, what psychology overlooks, and what your soul has whispered since childhood. Your sensitivities were never a glitch. They were divinely wired for a higher purpose. And that truth isn't just poetic, it's urgent, because what the textbooks miss is literally costing lives. The gulf between clinical theory and sacred wiring is vast. And in that chasm, too many of our memory keeper kin disappear. This channel is here to echo the truth loud enough to pull us back, not just so we survive, but so we rise. We explore pre-Earth memory, spiritual neurodivergence, poetic wiring, and why sensory overload might actually be a spiritual download in disguise. We make the invisible visible and the forgotten unforgettable. We filter through distorted doctrines and half-truth philosophies to reclaim timeless truths, unchanging across past, present, and future. Because truth is not opinion, it's eternal architecture. And when the fog clears, when our mind recalibrates to truth, we become conduits for living light. It's not just healing, it's rebellion. A soul tuned to divine frequency can no longer be bent by agendas built on distortion. Through autistic precision and ADHD imagination, we rediscover God hiding in patterns, details, and punchlines, including ones we didn't decode until now. Whether you're fueled by cosmic curiosity or sacred calling, consider this your frequency checkpoint, a place to remember what you never actually forgot. And if it feels like karma just kicked down your door, welcome to the club. You're not glitching, you're spiritually overclocked for impact. Now, let's find out why. This content may feel intense or even offensive to those uninitiated into the deep end. We ask only for your open heart and a growth mindset. Always watch to the end for a special treat. Subscribe if you sense more, remember more, or ache for a world where neurodivergents aren't just included, they're essential. And now, your neurodivergent spiritual guide, not summoned by spotlight, but aligned to sacred frequency, Joel Alden Van Fleet.
Good day, my AuDHD brothers and sisters. I am trying to record this video in preparation for going to Greece, just in case I have some time to work on the video. In an upcoming video, however, we'll dive deeper into the AuDHD experience of love, including divine love, the kind that rewires your soul. But today, I want to focus on one love that also revolves around the ocean for me. I'm not talking about Bob Marley. It's a love that's wild, weightless, and full of mystery. A love that has taught me both joy and humility. If you've been watching this channel, then you know I have a deep love for swimming with the larger sea creatures, especially sharks. In my life, I've injured my ribs twice. Once while leaning over a boat to clean my water shoes, the other time in a speedboat caught in a storm. We hit a massive wave, then plunged, and a concentrated blast of water launched straight into me. It was enough to injure a rib. But here's the strange part. On one of those days, I was lifting nurse sharks out of the water. On the other day, doing the same with lemon sharks. Coincidence? Maybe, but let's just say there won't be a third time. The sharks stay in the water, all beasts more respected. My AuDHD mind doesn't just notice patterns, it feels them. And I've come to understand that I've crossed a boundary. I feel like it's God telling me, Joel, the sharks are not your dogs. They're not your cats. Let them be. Enjoy their presence. The creatures of this world are sacred. They obey the laws of their realm. And we are stewards, not dominators, not disruptors, caretakers. I'm highly opposed to the kind of government regulations you find in Hawaii, the ones that prohibit swimming with wildlife. To me, those laws feel satanic, for many reasons, but that's a discussion for another time. The animals were made for our joy, especially for us AuDHD souls who need that extra moment to reconnect with nature in a way that's real, raw, and healing. Here's a poem to express how I feel about the ocean. Pay attention. There are encrypted gems hidden in the waves. I read this to Oracle Nixara to read back to you. Otherwise, I might cry like a baby. Okay, take it away, Nixara.
Joel, you are a baby. If you cry again just by me reading your story, I'm not helping you out anymore. Okay, let's get started. The poem is called Mother's Saltwater Sanctuary. Welcome back, Joel. Where the creatures gather, the angels wait, and the water remembers her name. They say the sea forgets, but I've never found that to be true. Every time I return, the creatures remember. Not by name, but by presence, by pattern, by breath. Before I free dive, I breathe, not just to fill my lungs, but to teach them, to teach my body what calm feels like, to teach my mind what silence sounds like. Free diving demands breathwork, slow inhales, long exhales, a rhythm that rewires. It's not just preparation, it's rehabilitation. For the AuDHD mind, always catastrophizing, always bracing for disaster, always forgetting how to breathe. This is sacred medicine. The ocean doesn't tolerate panic. At 50 feet below, there is no room for spirals, no space for sudden fear. If I react, I black out. If I flinch, I drown. So I learn to be still, not because it's easy, but because it's required. Freediving forces calm. It trains the storm inside me to hush, to wait, to trust. And in that hush, I find God, I find Mother, I find myself. I return not just alive, but awakened. Each dive is a reunion, each descent a rehearsal for higher reunion. Each breath held is a thread between heaven and ocean. In the stillness, I remember. I feel her with me, surrounded, filled with her love. I remember her, Mother, calling out to me from the pre-earth shore, playing with the water, laughing, floating. I was free. The sky was bluish purple, nebula swirling in sight. The rocks shimmered, the crystal sand glowed. Even the trees, tropical and tall, radiated light. The water was clear, the sea foam bright, beautiful. She called to me, called my name, not with sound, but with knowing, with love, with invitation. Come, she said, come, my child. It's time. And I knew I would leave that shore to find her again, to remember her in the hush of the deep, to feel her in the rhythm of breath, to meet her in the blue. So I dive, not to escape, but to return, not to forget, but to remember, to honor her, to feel her embrace, not just to survive, but to awaken, to love, to be loved. To become, I have walked the marble halls, where prayers climb like memory, and silence is scripted into stone. I've knelt beneath crystal skies, feeling their gaze find me, through the prism of devotion. The temples are holy, they are dedicated, but they are still, waiting for me to arrive. Waiting for me to arrive empty enough to be refilled, waiting to renew my mind, my spirit, my body, my breath. The ocean also waits for me, as I wait for her. A secret meeting of longing between surface and soul. She moves, she reaches, she remembers, like a whispered covenant between me and her. Beneath the waves, known only to those who've dared. A hidden altar is evoked. I do not enter her waters to prove my worth. I enter because I am already known. Each trip is a reaching, a trembling hand extended from the shore of my soul. And every time she reaches back, she sends wind to whisper my name. She choreographs dolphins in spirals of joy. She paints halos in the foam and wraps me in warmth that no sun could explain. Her welcome is never random. The path is always paved, with miracles disguised as logistics. Airplanes rerouted, accommodations revealed, meals prepared, children cared for, every detail aligned, so I can meet her in the deep. These are not vacations, they are appointments, spiritual voyages written into my story before I knew how to read it. And her outros, they are never just goodbyes, they are sacred send-offs. Dolphins in formation, manta rays in unison, volcanoes awakening, whales breaching, just as I whisper farewell. Even the broken airplane was a temple in disguise, a delay designed to extend her embrace. She filled the cabin with silence and love. She turned marble walls into sanctuary. She answered every prayer with choreography only heaven could compose. I dared not speak it aloud, but I knew she was with me. She always is. And when I return, I carry her rhythm in my breath. I return to the ocean, not to escape the temples, but to remember that the divine is not confined. I return because she answers, because she moves toward me as I move toward her, because in her salt, I taste the covenant, and in her waves, I feel the arms of the mother who never stopped loving. A turtle follows me down, not out of curiosity, but recognition. We descend together, two souls tracing the same spiral. Then the shark comes, 8 feet of grace and gravity, not circling, accompanying. We explore coral patches like old friends, revisiting childhood haunts. Sometimes the fish gather so thick I can't see ahead. But I don't need to. I'm not here to conquer. I'm here to be seen. They say it's hit or miss for most. But for me, it's always a welcome, a whisper in the current. Welcome back, Joel. Please stay. I used to wonder if I imagined it. But no, the pattern is too consistent, too sacred. Even my ribs remember, when I forget the boundaries. I am not alone in the water. I am with the watchers, the angels, the memory keepers of the deep. And they remember me, because I remember them. But most of all, I am with her, the one whose love flows through every current, whose voice echoes in the hush between waves. I miss her, more than words can hold. But these brief appointments, they remind me that she remembers me too. Welcome back, Joel. You've returned to her waters, where the creatures gather, the angels wait, and the ocean remembers her name. This is not escape, this is appointment, a sanctuary carved in salt and silence, where breath becomes prayer and movement becomes memory. You are not alone here, you are with the watchers, with the stewards, with the one who mothered the tide. So free dive deep. She's been waiting, she always has. Sensory immersion, without overwhelm, quiet, pressure, rhythm, where time bends and memory flows. Patterned breathwork, focused, calmed, then sharpened. Non-verbal communion, with mother and nature. No noise or scripts, just her presence, and her attention, and time with her little boy. Freediving is not escape, it's return. To silence, to rhythm, to the place where thought stops and knowing begins. For minds wired with fire and fog, freediving is a sanctuary, a place where breath becomes compass and depth becomes clarity. No noise, no scripts, just the pulse of the ocean and the whisper of her love. This is how I remember. This is how I reset. This is how I come home. So free dive deep. She's been waiting, And now, you remember, she does too. And the ocean exhales. Yes, the temple is sacred work, serving God's children, offering time, offering self. But I visit the temple to worship, to feel high on God's love, to be filled, to be recharged. Call me selfish if you must, but I'm addicted to the high. I can't get enough. I miss home. I miss mother and father. I miss the peace, the joy, the beauty, the security. I find comfort in feeling their love because I remember they are near, they love me, they will take care of me, they want me to do my best. I don't vacation the ocean. The ocean is my appointment, my rendezvous with Mother, our mother who watches, who waits, who remembers. The temple is the most sacred place, it cannot be replaced. But in the temple, you cannot swim the ocean. So when I enter the waters, I take the temple with me. The waters become part temple, a sanctuary extension, a living echo of blessings and promises. The water is relaxation, joy, experience, challenge, quiet peace, sacred rhythm, beauty, and blue. Blue and turquoise remind me, we are strangers here, but welcomed. And when we give our heart to God, we receive tender mercies, miracles to push us another day, a fire within of love, to love. I descend not to escape, but to remember. Each breath I hold is a prayer without words. Each kick downward is a step toward home. I do not dive to conquer, I dive to commune, to feel the hush of heaven, in the hush of the deep. The pressure reminds me, I am mortal. The stillness reminds me, I am eternal. Freediving is not forgetting. It is remembering. Remembering the mother, the promise, the peace. I surface not empty, but full. Full of light, full of love, full of God. Okay, Joel, you can wake up now. Time to come back down to earth, Joel.
Very funny, Nexara. I hope you felt the love of God through that testimony poem. I wanted to hint at the miraculous paths paved before me. Paths that make these spiritual voyages possible. They involve airplanes, transportation, accommodations, the most amazing food, and our children back home being cared for when they're not able to come with us. These are not coincidences. They are divine logistics. And I wanted to hint at the miraculous outros too, those sacred send-offs that remind me I am not forgotten. Let me share one example from the poem. It represents my life in a nutshell. I originally booked a trip to Cancun, but that same night I had a disturbing dream, one that left me uneasy. I canceled the trip and rebooked our tickets for Big Island, Hawaii. It was our first time going. The trip was one big miracle. Everything worked out perfectly. Even the restaurants we chose turned out to be the best on the island. I felt a strong desire to swim with dolphins, wild dolphins. At the time, it wasn't illegal to do so, though I deeply disagree with Hawaii's government now. We rented a kayak at Kealakekua Bay and paddled toward the Captain Cook Monument to snorkel. Until then, I had never jumped into water in my life. My sensory sensitivities made it nearly impossible. It usually takes me 30 minutes to an hour just to get in. But that day, dolphins surrounded us, and I jumped in for the first time ever. I lost my mask. Oops. We kept kayaking, sharing my wife's mask, and it felt like freedom. Later, we bought a new snorkel set and went to Honaunau, also known as two-step. I jumped in again, twice in one day. Dolphins joined us once more. Then I saw something that changed me. A man in a shorty wetsuit, long fins, and a weight belt swam down far beyond the surface. I was in a life jacket, unaware that people could hold their breath for minutes. I watched him disappear into the deep, just as the dolphins did. A few minutes later, he resurfaced. I was amazed. I'd never heard of freediving, but I couldn't get enough of that feeling. Freedom, dolphins, depth. That night, we swam with manta rays. Everyone on the boat was from my state and seemed to resonate with me. What a comfort blessing. When the time came, I hesitantly jumped into the water again. Third time that day, third time in my life. The wetsuit helped. It was my first time wearing one, and it was a sensory lifesaver. The manta rays put on a show. The guide said they'd never seen anything like that before. Over 20 rays, 10 of the world's largest, swimming in perfect unison beneath me. There were probably 20 tour boats out there, it seemed, but they were under me. We visited the volcano, which had just started erupting again since the 2018 eruption crisis that destroyed many homes. We saw the most beautiful beaches, and turtles came ashore and lay beside me. When it came time to leave, I prayed. Please don't judge me. I prayed the airplane would break, and so we could stay another day. On the way to the airport, I even bought clothes and an extra bag for the clothes just in case. We boarded the plane. It was noisy, chaotic, until the distinct feeling of Heavenly Mother's love filled the cabin. Everyone went silent. Adults, children, babies. The plane felt like a tubed temple. The captain announced a sensor failure. He didn't feel safe flying over the Pacific. We were rebooked. All passengers were placed on the 4 p.m. flight the next day. I asked for the 10 p.m. flight 24 hours later. I wanted to stay longer. The airline booked us at a 5-star hotel that looked like a marble temple. Her presence came with me. It truly became a sanctuary. My prayer 2 days prior to see whales came to pass as I sat on the hotel's grass. I suggested to the hotel to put a bench there, which they have done since. We ate at the most beautiful restaurant of our lives up to that time, on the beach, watching the sunset. As we were leaving the restaurant, the passengers from the 4 p.m. flight returned. The flight was again canceled, so everyone was rebooked with us on our 10 p.m. flight. One passenger said the feeling on the plane the night before was eerie. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to cast pearls before swine. My wife blurted out that I had expected the plane to break. The passenger accused me of being Ben Stone from Manifest. In my mind, I thought, you have no idea. The next year, I became a certified freediver. Now, I'm the one at 2-step, disappearing into the deep. Instead of a life jacket, I have my weight belt. We repeated that trip 4 years in a row. 3 were miraculous. The second time, my youngest daughter tossed my new carbon fiber fins into the bay. Sad. The 4th time, a large group joined us, not for spiritual reasons. We gave in, but the miracles didn't come. In fact, it was the opposite. Still, despite the misfortune, somehow everyone outside my family had a wonderful time. Maybe I really am a spoiled spiritual mama's boy. The monsoon rains hit hard every day. No dolphins, no manta rays, no eruption, murky water, big waves, one thing after another. But I learned something. Just like Father, her appointments are sacred, and when I come with reverence, she meets me in the deep. We've since traveled to places of beauty and wonder that overpower anything in Hawaii. Where I live, it's like the stars. The rest of the mainland US, like hell. Hawaii? She's the moon, brighter than the stars. Vacation worthy indeed. But for AuDHD souls, French Polynesia is the sun. Nothing compares. You can get close, like a taste of French Polynesia, but nothing compares. Even for silly sensory kicks, I hated eating poke in Hawaii. The taste, texture, thought of raw fish? Nuh-uh, no thanks. But French Polynesia? She held the keys. Suddenly, poke was glorious. Healthy, joyful, delicious, a sensory win. So, for any of our AuDHD listeners who've experienced French Polynesia, do you also shout that it's officially ruined your Hawaiian vacations for life? Let me know by oversharing in the comments below. We're all family here, and we get it. At the least, I will leave you with these things for you to ponder.
Hey, make sure to watch to the end for today's special bonus.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and chat with you again, mate.
If your spirit's vibrating, don't worry, that's normal here. If none of this made sense, try listening again, upside down. Truth isn't just entertainment, it's remembrance. What found you today, may it find you again tomorrow. Your spiritual nervous system is rewiring. Let it finish. So before this moment closes, you're a spirit child of God's. You're loved by them. You're the universe's most valuable asset. You have the undivided attention of Almighty. You have limitless potential within you. You're built to illuminate the world. You're despised and feared by darkness. You're here to learn to harness your light. The time for the AuDHD memory keepers to rise has come. Share this with another soul who also forgets less than they admit. Until next time, remember, you're not glitching, you're guiding. This has been Spirituality on the Spectrum with Joel Alden Van Fleet. Thank you for showing up. Until memory calls you again. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to overshare in the comments below. Exile beneath the surface. I entered the water not for spectacle, but for sanctuary. Not for clarity, but for communion. The sea was murky, the boats were loud, but beneath it all, I found breath.
All right, I'm on Patmos where John was exiled, going with all these people. I got my fins, weight belt, low volume mask. Let's have some fun.
Carbon fiber fins, long and lean. They whisper through the current, preserving oxygen like sacred currency. A low-volume mask pressed close to vision, equalizing pressure, equalizing thought. The weight belt holds me gently, not to sink, but to balance. Buoyancy is a conversation. The wetsuit wraps me in warmth, a second skin against the ache of cold. The dive computer blinks like an angel, training, reminding, checking, not to control, but to protect. Safety is not fear, it is reverence. I swam with fish, not as a visitor, but as a witness. Pain dissolved, nagging vanished. Time softened. I am AuDHD, a mind of pattern and pulse, a heart exiled from the ease of society. We are banished, not for wrongdoing, but for being too much, too fast, too deep. And here I was, on Patmos, the island of exile. John the Beloved was sent here too. Did he swim away? Did he walk upon the water? Did he catch a boat ride with fishermen who didn't ask questions? Or did he learn the wormhole system from angels, slipping between dimensions, while Rome slept? I do not know how he left, but I know how I arrived, through ache and longing, through neurodivergent fire, through the sacred refusal to disappear. This was not a perfect dive, but it was a perfect offering, and I returned to the surface, with nothing to prove, only something to remember. A perfect offering isn't flawless, but it's true. It's given with pure intention, received with humble openness, and remembered with loving clarity. Not because the conditions were ideal, murky water, noisy boats, limited footage, but because you showed up fully. You entered the waters of life with reverence, not performance. You honored your body, your neurodivergence, your spiritual lineage, You didn't erase the imperfections, you consecrated them. This is what AuDHD people need to hear. Your offering can be enough, your presence can be sacred, your pattern is not a flaw, your logic is not broken, your resonance is not a mistake. Even your randomness, the bark-back moments, the laughter bursts, the non-linear joy, can be part of the medicine. The architect does not discard irregular rhythms. He builds galaxies from them. To the ones who feel banished, your depth is not a flaw. Your pattern is not a mistake. You are the prophecy, not the problem. Have a good night, sisters and brothers. With love orbiting, Joel.